All right, I have to go pick up Cat soon, so this is going to be so fast. This is the scraping basics for Selenium. I'm just going to run through this. So shift enter, shift enter. This does all my imports. This makes sure that the correct Chrome driver is installed and opens up Chrome. Nothing crazy. And now this driver here points to this right here. So first up, scraping by class. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to say, hey, WebDriver, go visit this page. Visit this page. Delightful. I got a title, got a subhead, got a byline. I'm going to right-click and inspect, and now I can look at this. I can say, okay, I have a class that's title. I have a class that's subhead, and I have a class that is byline. So we'll do those one by one. First, I'm going to get one by title. So I'm going to say, hey, driver, why don't you find a single element for me? It's either find element or find elements. And in this case, we only want one because there's only one title. So I say find element. How do I want to find it? I want to find it based on the class. So I type by period, and I can hit tab just to see what my options are. Class name. What's the class name? The class name is title. And I run that and it finds it, and it looks ugly, but if I just want to look at the actual text, I will do .text. So, hey WebDriver, find a single element, find it by its class name. The class name is title, and get me the text. Class name is title, get me the text. This next one has the class of subhead, so I will just say, hey, find another element on the page. We are going to, again, give you the class name, and the class name is subhead. And again, I want the text. And now finally, I want the final one. P class equals byline. H1, H3, P doesn't matter because we're just using class to select these one by one. Class is byline. So I say, hey, find me a single element. I would like it to be done by the class name. And the class name this time is byline. I ask for the byline. It gives me this ugly thing. I say, oh, wait, I just want the text. And there we go. All right, next up, scraping using tags. So I'm going to change the URL here. I'm going to say we want to grab it by tags. Now, this is a little less common when you're scraping. Usually on a well-designed page, things will have classes. That's for design reasons, but sometimes you have to grab content based on tags. In this case, we have an H1, an H3, and a P. Luckily, there's no repeats here. So all I need to do is say, hey, I want to find a single element. What do I want to find it by? Well, this is a tag name. What is the tag name? Oh, for this first one, it's H1. So give me the H1. It says blah, and I say, okay, give me the text of that delightful how to scrape things. The next time I say, I would like for you to find exactly one subhead. How are we going to identify this subhead? Oh, it's class, or not class, sorry, it is tag name H3. So I say, we want to identify this by tag name. It's an H3. Give me the text. And then finally, the last one, I'm just going to cut and paste this. We look at it. It's a P tag. Great. Find element based on the P tag. Shift enter. There you go. So last time this had class, class, class. This time there's no class, class, class. We just have to pick it based on the tag name. All right, scraping using a single tag. Let's head to this page. Driver, get this page. Heads on over. Again, we want the title, subhead, and byline. We look at this, and now something terrible has happened. These are all P tags. How are we going to find these separately? Well, in theory, we could use XPath, but that's a terrible thing to do all the time. Never use XPath. It's a last resort. If I were talking in English, I would say this is the first P tag, the second P tag, and the third P tag. And we can do the same thing with Selenium. So what I can do is say, let's find all of the p tags on the page. So instead of find element like we did up here, I want to actually find elements. I want to find all of the p tags that are on this page. Because I'm looking for p tags, I'm going to say search by tag name. What's the tag name? The tag name is p. And if I look at it, oh no, something terrible has happened. No find elements. Oh, sorry. I typed WebDriver instead of driver. WebDriver is the thing that you import in order to create the driver. So I say, hey driver, find all of the p tags. And it says, great. I got one p tag here. I got one p tag here. I got one p tag here. We're not going to do a for loop over these. No for loops allowed. Never do for loops with this stuff. Sometimes do for loops. Generally don't though. In this case, I want to say, oh, I have the title. Let me grab the very first one. So I'm going to say, grab me the very first p tag. Give me the text. I'm going to say, give me the second p tag. Give me the text. And then grab me the third p tag, and that is our byline. Great. Now, one thing you might have done here is for p in p tags, print p.text. In theory, this does print all three of these, but like, how do you know the difference between all of these? I can't say the title is and then print that out. It just doesn't work. I can't say the author is. It just doesn't work because I'm doing the same thing to all of them. What you have to do is grab them all into a list and individually say, I want the first one, it's the title. I want the second one, it's the subhead. I want the third one, it's the author. I guarantee you if you're struggling with this one, this is probably what you did. I guess I can't guarantee something and then say probably, but close enough. Scraping a single table row. Driver, get, bam, head on over to that page. What I want to do is I want to grab this TD, then this TD, then this TD. First TD, second TD, third TD. Well, it's honestly the same thing as this, right? Because before I had 3 p tags and now I just have 3 TDs, which are table cells. So I can just say TDs or cells, driver, find elements. It's plural, right? Because I want all 3 of these. And I want to say find it by tag name because the tag name is TD. And I say give me every single one of those TDs. First TD, second TD, third TD. Great. And now I can say cells 0 dot text is the title. This is the subhead. And then the third one is my byline. Simple, easy, delightful. Another thing we could do that's slightly different. No, I'm not going to do that here. It's fine. Okay, and now we have to save everything into a dictionary. Sure, we can do that. It's the same content as before, right? So it's the same page, single table row, single table row. I'll visit the page again though, why not? We show up here, first TD, second TD, third TD. I'm just going to copy this code here. I pull out every single TD from the page. I know it's TDs because I looked at it. They're TDs. These are class names. Cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, title, subhead, byline. And so now I can just say, maybe book is an empty dictionary. Book title is, go into the cells. Get the very first cell, get the text of it. Sorry, this should be book. This shouldn't have spaces here. Great. So what do I do now? How do we get this second cell here, this subhead? I say, oh, hey, for the subtitle, I want you to go get the second cell and then the text. And then for the author or the byline, it's the exact same thing. I just want to get the third TD by using square brackets too. Delightful, perfect, amazing. All right, scraping multiple table rows. Now here's where stuff starts to get fun. Driver get this page. I end up on this page. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different cells. I can no longer just say driver find elements by tag name TD. Can't do it. I can't separate these. I don't know what's the first row, the second row, the third row. It's all too complicated. Everything's terrible. What I have to think about is, how is this divided up conceptually? And I say, oh, well, this is going to be my first book, this is my second book, and this is my third book. And if we go into the HTML, this first book here is all contained in a TR, the second book is all contained in a TR, and this third book is all contained in a TR. So what I need to do is get this, and then get this, and then get this, right? So first book, second book, third book. How do I do that? I say, hey, find me all the TRs on the page. Seems easy enough. Rows, driver, find elements, plural, because I want to get all 3 rows. And I say, do this by tag name. What's the tag name? Table row. Great, right? Table row, table row, table row. And what do I want to do? I want to do print out the title, subhead, and byline for each one. Now, if you're doing this the worst possible way, for row and rows, print row.text probably. Yeah, this isn't what I'm looking for. I want the title, subhead, and byline printed out separately in the same way that I did it up here. All right, same way I did it up here. One thing you might do wrong here. Here's the thing you might do wrong here. You might say, oh, I'm just going to repeat what I did up here, right? I'm going to repeat what I did up here. I want the first, second, and third cells. So I say cells, hey, go find all of my TD elements, and then print, let's say, cell0.text, right? So same thing we did before. I run it. How to scrape things, how to scrape things, how to scrape things. How to scrape things, not how to scrape things, not how to scrape things. What went wrong? What went wrong is I'm saying, hey, WebDriver, find me all of the elements on the page that are a TD. Find me all of them. So it's going to find me these 3 and these 3 and these 3. It's going to find me all of the ones that are on the page. It's not what I want. Not what I want. What I want is, hey, I'm in this first row, right? I'm doing this loop. 4 row and rows, looping through the TRs. I want all of the TDs inside of this TR. I want all of the TDs inside of this TR. Then I want all the TDs inside of this TR. How do I do that? Instead of saying driver.findElements TD, I say, hey, I'm in this loop. This loop goes through the first TR. Here, let me close these. It's going to go through the first TR. It's going to go through the second TR. It's going to go through the third TR. And each time it's going to say inside of that TR, find me all of the TDs. First time finds 3 TDs. Second time finds 3 TDs. Third time finds 3 TDs. And what happens is I say, hey, give me the first TD there. Give me the first TD here. Give me the first TD here, right? So find me all those TDs inside of that row, and then print out the text inside the first one. There we go. So I will say this is the title. Same way we did before. Because this is all of the TDs in that row, I can just say subhead is the next cell, and the author is the cell after that. Bam. Maybe I'll print a little line in between them. Amazing, incredible, perfect, fantastic. All right, scraping an actual table, creating a list of dictionaries. Okay, let's do it. Driver. Get this page, load up on this page. Amazing, this looks remarkably the same, I got a bunch of TRs here, TDs, TRs, TDs. I'm gonna be honest, I can probably just cut and paste this. What happens if I cut and paste this? It's the same thing, right? I wanna find the first table row, the second table row, the third table row, right? First row, second row, third row. I say, hey, give me all the rows. Give me all the cells inside of each row. When I'm inside of this row, first cell, second cell, third cell. first cell, second cell, third cell. Run it, works great, perfect. Another trick we can use here, let's say there were like multiple tables on this page. I could say, oh, hey, we only want to talk about this one table here. We only want to talk about this one table here. I only want the table rows that are inside of this one table. We can go grab this table first. I can say, hey, driver, I want you to find an element. Just one table, just one table. How do we identify this table? Sure, we can call it table. We could also say, we can grab its ID. Its ID, book list. So I could say find something by ID with the ID of book list. And then, here's the big trick, table.find elements by tag name. So I'm saying inside of that table with the ID of book list, that's where you're gonna go hunting for all of those TRs, because maybe there's 100 different tables on that page and we only want this one. So it's the same, works perfect. Now the only difference here is we want to create a list of dictionaries. So instead of printing, this is the title, this is the subhead, this is the author. Inside of here, every time we look at a new row, we want to make a new dictionary. New dictionary for this row, new dictionary for that row, new dictionary for that row. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to make a dictionary. I'm going to call it data. I'm going to say, instead of printing the title, instead of printing the subhead, instead of printing the author, I'm just going to say, hey, I want you to take that title, that author, that subhead, and then put it inside of this dictionary. So empty dictionary, then we add a title to it, we add a subhead to it, we add an author to it. Now look, we got a dictionary, we got a dictionary, we got a dictionary. They don't do that much good inside of here though. What we need to do is make a list of dictionaries. So every time we go through, we start off with 0 dictionaries. After we talk to the first row, we got 1. After we talk to the second row, we got 2. After we go to the next row, we got 3. So we say, hey, we start off with 0, but every single time we go through and look at a new row, after we've looked at the row, after we've built this dictionary, let's just attach it to the list. Let's just add it to the end there. And then we can look at our data set, and magically we have 3 different dictionaries in there. No pandas allowed. No pandas allowed. Okay, scraping multiple rows into a list of dictionaries. It's the same thing as we did up here, except we need to create a pandas data frame. And say, well, how do we create a pandas data frame? And I say, we're just going to copy this. It's the exact same page, but I'll throw this .get down there too, right? The actual table, it's fine. Copying this, pasting this. We have a list of dictionaries. Everyone's worst nightmare, flashbacks to APIs, but anytime you have a list of dictionaries, you can say, hey pandas, I would like for you to take this list of dictionaries and then turn it into a data frame. Perfect, amazing. All you have to do is pd.dataframe and then give it your list of dictionaries. Works great. Another thing we can do is I can say, hey pandas, go read this web page for me. What's the URL? Oh, here's the URL. Go read it. And it gives me this ugly thing. And the reason why it gives me an ugly thing is because this reads all of the tables off of the web page, and I just want to say, hey, give me the very first table. And there we go. Is it ideal? No. 0, 1, 2. We probably need to, rename those columns. 0 becomes title, 1 becomes subhead, 2 becomes author, but what did I do wrong? Columns equals. There we go. They can save it as a df, because why not? No, another way to do it. Finally, we need to scrape into a file. Well, if we already have a data frame, I like the pd.dataframe way. Seems a little more organic. So I scrape all of the rows. Maybe I'll look at data set here so I can see I have a list of dictionaries. Turn the list of dicts into a data frame, and then save to a CSV. Now, when I save to a CSV, I just can't say output.csv. The problem here is what this will do is it will add the index in. So 012, 012 in my CSV, and it's like an untitled column, and it's awful. Like if you read the CSV in, oh, output.csv, what? Oh, pd.read CSV. So if I read it in, it's awful. This unnamed column, it's terrible. Every time you save a file, you do not want to save the index. In order to make that happen, you say index equals false. Now when I look at my output, it looks beautiful. When I read in my output, it is also beautiful, same as ever. There you go. Those are your scraping basics. That is how you go from, I don't know, 0 to hero, I guess.